Good morning, everyone. So today we actually gonna be taking a look at the portfolio that is generating us passive income to fund our lifestyle. So back in 2016, I posted a video setting a goal that I would like to be financially free before the age of 41. Fast forward to today, I am able to live a modest but free life from the passive income that generated from our investment. So we can take a look at that today. Just for the simplicity's sake, I know that a lot of the passive incomes from this portfolio are dividend and distribution, but we're just going to call it dividends today. I see a lot of video like this that are showing the portfolio and showing the dividend generated from the portfolio, but I never seen one that actually in the drawdown period. What it means is that you're actually living off that number instead of reinvesting everything. So I thought I would provide like a little bit of like a different perspective. So before we take a look at it, I just want to talk about a few criteria going into why I picked these portfolio. I know I mentioned it in the last video. Basically, it has to last. So I try to go for something with a longer track record and lowest fee possible. Two, it has to generate enough, with the combinations of everything, generate enough to cover our lifestyle. And yeah, basically those are the two main goals that we have. So with no further ado, let's take a look.
All right, so this is the portfolio. So we're using Stock Event app today. I really like the aesthetic it provides. Looks really nice. Also give me all the info I need. If you're interested, there's a link down below. Okay, so this is the total amount. However, keep in mind that this I do have some margin. So there is some debt that gonna have to be subtracted from this, but we'll look at that later. Also, the total P&L might not be completely accurate because it doesn't take into account the dividend received. And also, I didn't really input the date purchase of each stock because it has to go back years. And I'm not gonna be going back 10 years and try to get all the transaction correct. Okay, so let's take a look at all the stock holding. So this is all the stock holding I have, ranging from the highest value to the lowest value. Some, as you can see, there's a bunch of like a mix of stuff here, but I'll sort it out into an Excel in a bit that you can see it will look much more digestible. Okay, so this is the dividend portion. We receiving 105,000 in dividend. However, this is projecting forward, so it might not be completely accurate because some ticker like TXF, they pay quarterly, and then sometimes it's going to be lower, sometimes the amount is going to be higher, basing on the market volatility, market conditions. Some stock like YTSL gonna pay based on how Tesla's performing. So the last month has been really good. So in the future it might be lower. So don't take this number to heart because in generally it's probably going to be lower, most likely. So let's take a look in the spreadsheet platform. So okay, so this is the spreadsheet version. I know that if you watch the last video, you know that I split portfolio into three parts: growth, opportunity, and living expense. So the growth part, as name suggests, we're gonna leave this part alone most of the time just to let it grow, let it compound by itself. Everything is going to be reinvested into passive ticker like VFE, maybe NASDAQ Tech. I have some TXF here, which is technically a cover call ETF. Eventually, I plan to convert these into a more passive one, but the timing I don't think is right now, so I'm going to leave it there for now. In this video, I don't want to go into too deep into each ticker. Maybe I'll make a video in the future talking about my logic behind what I pick. If you're interested in that, please let me know. Okay, so this part I'll reinvest it, leave it alone for the future. Second part is the opportunity, which its name suggests is for anything we deem a good opportunity. So back in 2023, we see the rates, rising like crazy, and then I see that it's kind of topping out. But however, because of the high rate, it leaves a lot of real estate offices in particular in shambles because back then it was like work at home, remote job, and all these things. So there was a lot of fear that the office gonna go bust. The new age is here, remote work is the key, etc., etc. So I see that a lot of these offices were priced like they're gonna go bust almost. So I thought that if the rates are coming down, in combination with I feel like the fear of remote work is a little bit more overblown. I thought that would be a good opportunity, so I swoop in and buy a bunch of them of these preferred shares. A little bit of preferred shares. Preferred share is kind of like, in a way, it's a debt instrument. So the payout is a little bit safer than stock, but not as safe as bonds. Um, Usually they have a par value, callback value at 25. That means that the company can buy back these at 25 if they want to. And these were trading at like, 10s, 9. So the price was really good. Assuming they don't go bust, they were a good opportunity and the payout was really good. So far, these have done really, really well in the past year and a half. I think that they even outpaced S&P 500. Um, if I'm gonna go into this, it's gonna take a long time, so I'm not gonna go into deep on those right now. Generally, all the dividends or the dividend received after the margin is gonna be used to pay down the margin to bring this amount down. The margin rate is quite high. Unfortunately, in Canada, the margin section is not that competitive, so there's not a lot of good portion for this. Um, Wealthsimple offer a really good rate. However, they don't offer these tickers, so unfortunately can't do that. So as this ticker rises close to par value, if I see that there's an opportunity elsewhere, I'm going to liquidate them and then move it somewhere else. So that's the plan. Another good thing about these is that the margin payment is actually a write-off because it's a debt payment, and the dividend payments is actually taxed as an eligible dividend, so they're taxed quite favorably. Okay, enough of that. Living expense, the final portion. So as the name suggests, is for living expense. We condense it down to the three ticker here. I might add JEPQ in the future because I think that the expense ratio is quite low, and I love that. When I say expense, I'm talking about the fund expense, not living expense. So I picked these based on a few things. QQY, this is the Canadian ticker, not the US one. I feel like they perform quite well. They pay quite high, even though it's a little on a too high side for my liking. But so far it's done well, so I'm leaving it here for now. YTSL, this is probably the riskiest part of this portfolio because it's concentrated on Tesla. This position was much smaller and grew into quite a large chunk right now. And USDC, this is probably my favorite one that has been around for a long time. The fee is very competitive. They actually lowered the fee last year, which almost unheard of. So these are what I came up with. I tried many different ticker before, and I kind of like end up with these one. If you want the breakdown of why I choose which one of these, each of these, just let me know. I can make another separate video for these. So we are getting paid about 3,500 CAD per month on the living expense here, which is going to be contribute to about 50% of the whole portfolio, conservatively calculated. Despite withdrawing every last penny of the distribution and dividends to live on, the portfolio actually, slowly climbed. It's actually not losing value despite, withdrawing 3.5K every month. So that's reassuring. Even though it's such a short time span, only time will tell how this will play out. Hopefully it works. Okay, so in the last video I mentioned about Plan B. What does Plan B means? So if we go to this file calculator from the engaging data, I think this is actually like a really cool calculator. If you want to check it out, the link is over here. So what this means is basically it basically projects out your investment. However, it doesn't work for most portfolio because this basically, if assuming that you're investing in S&P 500, passive, low fees. So we're gonna take the amount 152,000, which is basically just the VFV amount. We're gonna put it over here. We are 36 years old, and then the income part is basically the distribution from this portfolio loan. Let's say that we get everything, we're reinvesting into VFV, $20,000 per year, basing on 7% average stock return, which is actually quite conservative. But we're going to be extra conservative here, and we're going to run it through a Monte Carlo simulation, which is basically condensing all the past data and then use it to project forward how the investment might perform. So on the base case, we should reach $1 million at the age in 16 years. And $1 million is kind of like the goal that we strive for as like a backup retirement. Best case, it could reach as early as 10 years. In the really bad case, it could reach when you're 65. But either way, this can act as a backup plan. Let's say all else fail, everything's going to shit. This part is going to act as a traditional retirement per se. So, yeah, that's basically our whole idea of the portfolio that's generating as passive income to live a modest but free lifestyle. I know that the choice that we chose here in terms of like what we invest in is a little bit controversial because I know that a lot of consensus about derivative ETF is that you're giving out a long-term gain for a short one and then usually end up being not as efficient. But what I think what we all forget to take into account is the currency of life. Life is not live in a cubicle, life is not live in a spreadsheet, life is live outside. And then, maybe your goal is not to retire. Your goal maybe just to have more freedom in life. And, investing, you just because you invest doesn't mean that you want to retire. All these dividends and all these things could be used to subsidize your phone bill, your meal, your rent. And, all these things compounded just give you more freedom in life, give you more option in what you want to do. And if you're not invested for your future, I hope this inspire you to start. So yeah, I think that's everything. So if you have any questions, please leave it down below. I'll try to get to them and maybe I'll make another video. If you want to see more of this, please comment, subscribe, and let me know. I plan to maybe make an update here and there, and maybe I'll run it to my expenses. I don't know what this channel is going to be like in the future, but if you have any idea of what you want to see, feel free to let me know down below. So I guess, yeah, that's it. Thank you for spending time with us today. I'll see you guys next time.